वन्दे कविं कवीनामुपम् श्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनश्यन्वन्तिभिस्वीरसादनम् ॐ महागणपतये नमः। ॐ प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्यवतु। ॐ वाग्देव्यै नमः। शान्तिपाठः। ॐ शिवनामनिभावितेऽन्तरङ्गे महते ज्योतिषि मानिनि मयाब्धे दुरितान्यपयान्ति दूरदूरे मूरायान्ति महान्ति मङ्गलानि स्मृते सकलकल्याण भाजनं यत्र जायते पुरुषस्तमजं नित्यं व्रजामि शरणं। ॐ सन्नो मित्रस्सं वरुणः सन्नो भवद्वर्यमा सन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः सन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यश्छन्दसा ऋषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोऽभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणं भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरि विश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पीतः श्रुतं मे गोपाय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिवा कीर्तिपृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्मृतमस्मि द्रविणगं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलेन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। निराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविरावेर्महेवि वेदस्य न आनीस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनागीतेनाहो गात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः भद्रं नो अपि वातयमनः ॐ शान्तिः भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्पृष्ट्वांसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः यो ब्रह्माणो विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तरुह्यदेवमबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये ॐ शान्तिः विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतम् पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवा गुरो जगदिदम् प्राणिर्विकल्पम् पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये यस्यैव स्फुरणम् सदात्मकमसकल्पार्थगम् भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत्साक्षात्करणा भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नानाच्छिद्रघटोदर स्थितमहादीपप्रभास्वरम् ज्ञानम् यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभात्येतत्समस्तम् जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये देहम् प्राणमतीन्द्रियाण्यपि चलाम् बुद्धिम् च शून्यम् विदुः स्त्रीबालाङ्गजडोपमा स्वरमिति भ्रान्ता वृषम्वादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहा व्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारं ज्ञानस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः शङ्कराश्लेषविलसभानन्दामृतनिर्भराम् विश्वोत्तंसितपादाब्जाम् ब्रह्मविद्याम् विभावये नमः श्रुतिशिरः पद्मचण्डमातण्डमूर्तये बादरायणसंज्ञाय मुनये समवेश्मने वेदान्तनिकुरुम्बेण पर्येण प्रकाशितः स्वात्मानन्दैकरस्येन कल्याणाय शिवोऽस्तु नः अधीः भगवो ब्रह्म. In that penultimate shloka here, Namashruti Sirah Padma Chanda Martanda only. It's not Martanda. Martanda is the correct reading. Martanda. Somebody said Martanda. Martanda is the correct reading. What we have is the correct reading. The Sutra literature is unique. Every darshana has its own sutra, unique sutra literature. There are many other granthas in each darshana, and there are many commentaries also in each darshana. But sutra is only one. Only one sutra literature in each of these darshanas. That shows that the sutra text, sutra grantha, is given the topmost importance among the various darshanas. As I mentioned yesterday, some of the sutra literature, the originals are not lost, are not available, they are lost. But there are reconstructions. Fine. Some of the sutra granthas are of descriptive type, descriptive nature. Like the Patanjala Yoga Darshana, Patanjala Sutras, Yoga Sutras, they describe, they are descriptive. There is no much analysis done there. They just describe, this is what this is what you do, anything like that. And there is this Paniniya Sutras, in the Vyakarana Shastra we have Paniniya Sutras, that is sort of prescriptive. It prescribes how to go about in framing, in coining the words, just a sort of prescription. Do this, do this, do this, it is that. Whereas In the Mimamsa, in the Purva Mimamsa and in the Uttara Mimamsa, both the Sutra Granthas are analytical. They analyze. We will see in little detail about the Purva Mimamsa later. Here in the Uttara Mimamsa, that is Brahma Sutra, what is analyzed is Vedanta Vakyas, the sentences, or even sometimes even words, phrases are analyzed. Why the need for analysis? In some places the sentences are clear, the words are very clear. In some places they are not clear in the first sight. When you look at it, it's not very clear. Sometimes it looks as though contradictory also. Actually there is no contradiction, but superficially if you look at two sentences, they seem contradictory. Like in the Ishavasya Upanishad, Taddure Tadiha Antike, it says, Atmavastu is very far off. Taddure. What is at a distance cannot be nearby, and what is nearby cannot be far off. But the Shastra says Taddure Tadiha Antike. It's very far off. It's very close by. Is there not a contradiction? One and the same thing. It's not that A is said to be far off, B is close by. That is not the case. Very same vastu is far off and close by also. It's not a virodha. Then in the Bhagavad Gita we have Machstani Sarva Bhutani. All beings abide in me, Arjuna. All exist in me. In the next sentence, Bhagavan says, Nacha Machstani Bhutani. Nothing exists in me. Everything exists in me. Nothing exists in me. Are they not contradictory? So, in places like this, there are seeming contradictions are also there. Sandeha is there. Vipratisheda, a seeming vimata, various opinions are there. So therefore, there is need for analyzing the Vedanta Upanishad Vakyas and presenting the Tatparya. This is the meaning. This is the meaning of this Vakya. This has to be very clearly established. Only then the jnana, the understanding that we have from the Shastra becomes clear. Dridha bhavati. Therefore, jnana dardya, for the firmness, clarity of jnana, Brahma Sutra Adhyayanam is traditionally done. Jnana dardya is the phalam for the Brahma Sutra study. All right. What do these sutras discuss? These sutras discuss the Vedanta Vakyas, Upanishad Vakyas. We have the Ishadi Upanishadaha. We have. Even though there should have been 1180 Upanishads, so many shakhas were there, Veda shakhas were there, and each shakha is complete with the Upanishad. Therefore, there should have been 1180 Upanishads. Some of them, or quite a number of them, the Pata Veda may be there in some place, like Kanda Shaka, etc., Madhyandina Shaka, that can be Pata Vedas. Still, there were 1180 shakhas. Should have been. But we have lost. Much of them is lost. Much of them, they are lost. We don't have. But whatever we have, whatever that were existent during the Sutrakara's time, Sutrakara analyzed and presented them. So the content of the Vishaya, the subject matter of the sutras are the Upanishad Vakyas only. And in some places we have the Smriti, Prasthana, Gita Vakya Vichara also we do find. The basic content, Vishaya of all the sutras, basic content is about the Vedanta Vakyas only. Bhashyakara points out, Brahma Sutra is like a garland made out of the flowers of the Vedanta Vakya. Vedanta Vakyas are considered, imagined as the flowers, Kusuma. Vedanta Vakya Kusuma, Kusumanam. And these are strung into a garland, Mala. This is the Sutra. Sutra binds the flowers into a garland. Bhashyakara beautifully brings up the imagery there. Now, what is Vedanta? In the Vedanta Sara Prakarana Grantha, Vedanto Nama Upanishad. Vedanta is Upanishad. And further, the Acharya says Pramanam. Vedanto Nama Upanishad Pramanam. What is Vedanta? The word Vedanta is a compound word, Samasa. Vedasya Antaha Vedantaha. Normally, the Vedanta Grantha is presented at the end, towards the end of the particular Veda Shaka. Therefore, it is called Vedasya Antabhagaha Vedantaha. Also, it is called Shruti Siras. Like even in the Manushya body, for the human body, the head is the topmost, Uttama Angaha, Uttamangam Bhavati. Shiraha is Uttamangam. Similarly, Vedanta is the Shruti Siras, it is called. Like even the head is the most important, given the most importance, so too the Vedanta occupies the important position, in as much as the Parama Tatparya of all the Vedas is in the what is revealed by Vedanta only. Like even all the spokes of a wheel are connected to the hub, so too all the portions of Veda are connected to the Shruti Shiraha, Vedanta. They lead a person to Vedanta. The other portions of Veda Kramena lead a person to Vedanta. The other portions are Karma Kanda and Upasana Kanda. These two Bhagas, Veda Bhagas, make the person a qualified person for Vedanta. And all that is said in the other parts of Vedas are not in opposition to what is said in the Jnana Kanda, that is Upanishad. They are not in opposition. This also needs to be seen. Is there not Virodha between what is said in the Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda? Like even in the Jnana Kanda, the Jiva is taken to be a Karta, Bhokta. And in the Jnana Kanda, Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva is negated, pointed out that Atma is Shuddhaha, Kevalaha, free from Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva. One part of Veda, it is mentioned that Jiva is Karta, Bhokta. On the other part, that is Jnana Kanda, Upanishad, it is said that Jiva is Atma who is not a Karta, not a Bhokta. So this seeming Virodha also needs to be analyzed, understood. So when two contrary things are said about the same Vastu, then only one can be the truth, the other only should be as though as it were, as though apparent only. In other words, kalpita only. One has to be akalpita, the other has to be akalpita only. This all, that one has to be kalpita, the other is akalpita, this comes from our pramanya buddhi. We will look into the pramana a little later. So, there is no virodha between the various bhagas of the Veda. There is no virodha whatsoever among the Veda Vakyas. Nor is there any virodha of what is said in the Vedas with any other pramana. There is no virodha. Pratyakshavi pramanaihi saha vedoktasya arthasya virodaha na sambhavati. It is not there. All the virodhas are really seeming only, as though only they can be explained. Like even when a person stands facing the sun in the morning, the shadow is long. Evening, shadow is long. Noon time, that is very short. The shadow is very short or almost not there. This can be explained. How can the shadow of one fellow who is 6 foot tall, how can the shadow be long and short? It is explainable. It is explainable. Similarly, the virodhas are seeming, they are explained away satisfactorily. Thereby, avirodha is understood. Alright. So, there is no virodha between Vedavakyas, there is no virodha between Vedavakya and other pramanas. These are all brought out in the analysis. Alright. Vedanta is a pramana. Upanishad pramana. Vedanta is Shruti Shiraha, Vedasya Antabhagaha. And what is Vedanta? Upanishad is Vedanta. Sadananda Acharya says in that Vedanta Sara Prakarana Grantha, Vedanto Nama Upanishad. Upanishad is Vedanta. And the word Upanishad we know comes from the word, the dhatu, Shadlu, Gati, Visarana, Gati, Avasadhaneshu. Visarana, the process of loosening. The Ragadvesha knots over the individual. The hold of Ragadvesha, Samskara, Vasana, Deha Bhava, Deha Tadatmya, Manastadatmya, Ahankara Tadatmya. These are they have a strong hold, as it were, over the person now. In other words, the person thinks that this is what I am. And the person's life is dictated by these notions only. Ragadvesha rule the rules. They determine what the person would do, how the person would behave. This is bondage. This leads to dukkha. As Bhagavan says in the Gita, Kamascha, Krodascha, Lobascha, Trividam, Narakasya, Dwaram. Naraka is suffering here, samsara. These three are the typical doors for Naraka, meaning suffering. Tasmad yetatrayam tyajet. May one deliberately, with effort, prayerfully give up these. Meaning, the hold of Raga, Dvesha on the person needs to become weaker. It has to be weakened. It won't become weak on its own. There has to be a process which has to be initiated by the individual. The person has to initiate the change in oneself. Without the person initiating the change in oneself, change will not come. It will not come. Change has to be initiated. Change for the better, for good has to be initiated. And thereby the hold of Ragadvesha becomes thin and thin, weak and weak, weaker and weaker over the person. This is the Visarana aspect. Shadru, visarane, in the sense of loosening. Even as one practices, takes to what is prescribed in the Upanishads, what happens is the Kama Krodha Adi become weaker and weaker. They don't have the same stronghold over the person's life, behavior, thinking, experience, all that expressions. They don't have the same hold over the person anymore. And then avasadhana, putting an end, completely removing the anartha hetu, the suffering and the cause for suffering. In fact, the cause for suffering is removed, then the suffering goes. Okay? Like even if a person has, say, body, some pain, and then the cause of it is traced, diagnosed, and then some medication is given, then that illness is cured, and the suffering, the pain goes away. Fever goes away, the pain goes away. When that the anartha hetu, when it is removed, anartha goes away. If the anartha hetu is not addressed, not removed, anartha will continue. Now the anartha may subside, but then again it will come up. Therefore, anartha hetu is removed. And anartha hetu is avidya. So avidya, when avidya goes away, avidya janya, kama, krodha, and karma, kartrutva, all the samsaritva, they all go away. Thereby, the samsara is removed totally. Avasadhana, the sufferer is gone. Thereby, the suffering is gone. As long as the sufferer is there, suffering will be there. Sufferer is gone, therefore the suffering is gone. I am subject to suffering. I am capable of being afflicted. This bhava, this notion, this understanding about oneself goes away by the study, understanding of the Upanishads and any other sadhanas that are mentioned in the practicing the sadhanas mentioned in the Upanishads. Do other sadhana. Then there is gati, gaining the goal. Here the goal is parama sukha praptihi, ananda avaptihi, also we know as moksha, freedom from samsara, fullness, triptihi, unconditional triptihi, we know. Now, therefore the very word Upanishad points out what it does. Upa, ni plus sad. Kartari, kvit dhat. Kvit pratyaya is there. Kartari, kvit. Karoti. Yatin, prapayati. Gamayati. Avasadayati. Right? Visrinati. Visirnam karoti iti Upanishad. And the word upa, the upasarga upa indicates that it is about Atma. Upa samipe. The word upa means close by, near. Near what? What is near? Atma is near. Atma is pratyak. Right? The truth of all, the truth of the individual, the truth of the seer, doer, experiencer, that is the Atma. Satchidananda Atma. So that is the closest. In fact, that is the Swarupa. Why it is closest? Because it is the Swarupa. Between a Vastu and the Swarupa, there is no separation. There is no Desha, Vyavadhana. Vyavadhana means separation. Separation in terms of Desha. Desha Vyavadhana is not there. Kala Vyavadhana is not there. There is no separation in terms of time. Right? It's not that fire is lit up now and then after 2 minutes it gets its heat, it becomes heat hot. As it is born, as the fire comes, it is hot. So there is no kala vyavadhana. There is nothing else also. Vastu vyavadhana also is not there. That is Swarupa. So Atma Swarupa, that is there is no vyavadhana. So, upa samipe, what is the distance between me and myself? me and my true nature, there cannot be any distance. So between the assumed me and the real me, yes, there is avidya, ignorance, moha, vyavadana is there, delusion, error, vyavadana is there. But between the swarupa and the vastu, there is no separation. That is the upa, samipe, samipatame, closest. I am the closest to me. Everything else, there is a distance. Physical distance or notional distance is there. When the distance is not known, not remembered, then there is confusion. Aham bhava, mama bhava come up. I-ness, mine-ness, this is me, this is mine. Ahankara, mamakara come up. Then the essential difference, in other words, essential vyavadhana distance between the swarupa and the assumed thing, when it is lost sight of, there is confusion. Aviveka, there is confusion. There is suffering. Whereas the closest to me is upa samipe, samipatama is ahameva atma iti. So the word upa indicates the vishaya for the content of the grantha. And also upa also means samipe. Where from I get this knowledge? Guroho sakashat, from the Guru. So upa samipe means from the Guru, from the nearness to Guru. Antevasi bhutva, right? Guroho gurukule antevasi bhutva, guroho sakashat, from the Guru this is gotten. Guroho upadeshat, this is prapta. Therefore the word upa also indicates it is gotten from Guru Mukhat only. From Guru Mukha only. Tadvijnanartam Gurum eva abhigachet iti Mundaka says. In the Bhagavad Gita we have Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprasnena Sevaya iti. Upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha guravaha iti we say. Therefore, upa indicates that this vidya, this jnana is gotten from Guru Mukha only, Guru Upadesha only. And then ni, nitaram, in totality, what you learn, what you understand, comprehend is complete. Without any sandeha, nissandehena, ni, very clear, nitaram, very clearly, without any samshaya, without any viparyaya, viparita bhavana, any error, habitual error, any doubt, without any of this. Also there is no lesha, trace of avidya, ignorance, with reference to Swarupa. There is no lesha. Avidya, lesha, samshaya, viparita bhava, they are not there. This is the complete jnana. Nitaram janati. Nishchayena janati. Nishchaya, because there is phala. Phala is there for the fourth. The word Upanishad is a very beautiful word indicating what is said, how it is gotten, what is the result of this, what is the nature of the jnana, etc. It's all contained in this word Upanishad. Therefore, Vedanto nama Upanishad. And it is pramana. Pramana, jnana sadhanam, jnana janakam, pramanam. To know something correctly, we need a appropriate pramana. Like for instance, to see the color, see the form, shape of an object, we need our eyes. For us to have the knowledge of the shape of a particular object, we need eyes. Without eyes, we don't get this knowledge. Rupa jnanam is not possible without chakshuhu, without the eyes. So the eyes are the pramana. Pramajanakam pramanam. What gives rise to Janaka? What gives rise to Prama? Valid knowledge. Indisputable knowledge. Indismissible knowledge. Abaditam. So, Prama Janakam Pramanam. When we say Janaka, what gives rise to? There may be other factors also, not maybe, there are other factors also. To know the form of an object, I need light. To see the table, I need light. Right? Without light, I cannot see the table. So why can't we say that the light is a pramanam? Because light gives rise to table knowledge, table sight. Right? Why can't we say they are all sadharana samagris, common factors. But we have to say pramana is a unique factor. A unique factor. Whether I see the table, whether I hear a sound, whether I walk, light is there. In life these things happen. I see a person, I walk. In all this, light is necessary. Light is there. This is all sadharana. Common factors, general factors, features. Of course, without light I cannot see. But light is not called pramana, but my eyes are the pramana here. That is a unique agent, unique asadharana karanam. Sadharana, general. Asadharana means the unique factor. Here the eyes are the unique instrument with which I see the form of an object. So, Prama Janaka, when you say the asadharana karana, that is the pramanam. Now, here there are a few factors here. In knowing something, first of all there is the knower. Pramata is the knower is there. Without the knower there is no knowing process, there is no wielding the instrument. Pramana vyapara won't be there without the pramata. Right? If I am a pen itself cannot write. I have to be the writer has to be there so that the pen writes. We are not talking about printer. Printer again has to be programmed, formatted, everything is to be done. So there has to be the Chetanavan, there has to be Chetanaha Purushaha, who pre-exists the Pramana Vyapara, who doesn't come into being after the Pramana, but he pre-exists. Pramata being there, the knower being there, the person can employ the means, like eyes and ears, the mind. So Pramata comes first, the knower. In the Vedanta Shastra, we know that Pramata is only the Chaitanya Atma alone through the Antakarana Upadhi. And in Antakarana Upadhi there is this mode, different modes of Antakarana is there. As the knowerhood, with the knowerhood, Pramatratvena, with that the Chaitanya Atma alone appears as the Pramata. We have the four functional aspects of the mind, Antakarana. Manaha, Buddhihi, Chittam, Ahankaraha iti. Manaha is the deliberative aspect. Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha iti. Deliberating function. Deliberation function of the mind is the Manaha iti. Then ascertainment, Nishchaya, Nishchayatmika Buddhihi iti. Then Ahankartri, Ahankaraha iti. Doer, I am the doer of this, I am the claimant, this is the ahankara. Chittam generally refers to the recollection, the memory, recollection, it refers to chitta. So the pramata, in the pramatritva, the ahankara amsha is very clear, atisputam, very clear, ahankara amsha. I am the knower, I am the one who wants to see, right? that ahankara amsha is very clearly manifest in that. So with that, and then once the individual decides, I want to see, I want to hear, when somebody says, listen to this, then when somebody tells me, Devadatta, hey Devadatta, listen to this music, then when I invoke the Pramatrutva in me, then Pramata of what? I want to be the Pramata, the knower of this particular sound. Then the Pramana, appropriate Pramana choice, decision is there. To hear, in order to be the hearer, I choose the hearing instrument. Shrotra is the Karana. The ear is the only instrument for hearing. When there are vibrations, so suppose there is some vibration, some vehicle, heavy vehicle is moving, a train is moving, you hear the sound only by the ears. You may feel the vibrations, sense of touch, there is vibration, but that is not sound. You don't feel the sound, you feel the vibrations, yes. Kampanam you feel with the sense of touch. But the Srotram is the asadharana sadhanam for hearing, Shravana. So the Pramata, the Shrota, when the Shrotrutva is the Pramatrutva, I am the hearer. I am the Pramata, the knower, and now I am the hearer. When the hearerhood is invoked, then the Shrotra Indriya is chosen. This is the appropriate Pramana. I am all ears now. Listen to this. Sometimes we even close our eyes so that we intensely listen to that. Don't talk now. I want to listen to this. So with all focus, the Pramata manifests as the Shrota, employing the Shravanendriya, Shrotrendriya. So the choice of Pramana is decided by the Pramata. And based on what the Pramata chooses the Pramana, employs the Pramana, depends on the Prameya. Right? The object to be known. Prameya, to be known object, that is Prameya. To be known, when known it has become Pramita. Pramita was two, known was two. When it is to be known, it is Prameya. To be known is Prameya, known is Pramita. Pramita was two, already known. So Prameya determines the Pramana. Which Pramana the Pramata uses. Okay? Alright. Now, what is this Pramana? Is it something, an external thing? Suppose I want to write, I write with a pen. I take a pen and write. Pen is something outside of me, other than me. Where is this Pramana? When I say the Pramata employs the Pramata employs the Pramana, where is this Pramana? Is it outside of the Pramata? It's very same. The Pramana, they are one here. The Pramata invokes the Pramana. And in the invoking the Pramana, there is this Manaha Amsha is invoked mainly. Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam, that is the main factor. Main factor is there. What is this? In order to know this, how do I do? What do I know? What do I use? So the Manaha Amsha is predominantly invoked in the Pramana. In the Pramana, there is Pramata is there. Without Pramata, there is no Pramana. Behind the Pramana application, there is Pramata. Meaning, the Pramata is Chaitanya, and in the Pramana also, there is Chaitanya is there. As the Pramana Vritti, as the Pramana Pravritti, in that Pramana Pravritti, there is the Chaitanya is definitely there. Pramana is not outside of Pramata. Pramana is contained in the Pramata only. Right? And the Pramata decides to use the Pramana depending on the Prameya. Form means you use the eyes. Sound means you use the ears. Touch means you use the sense of touch. taste, use the tongue. So appropriate pramana is chosen depending on the prameya. So prameya vastu governs the choice of pramana. Alright. Now this connection between this relation in the choice of this prameya and the pramana by the pramata, choice of the pramana by the pramata, there is uniqueness. There is uniqueness of the pramanas. Every pramana is unique. To see the shape of an object, eyes are the only pramana. There is no other pramana. Pramanantaram nasti. Some people think, we hear the form with our ears, etc. Some people say that's all some exotic ideas. We are not talking about the exotic ideas and beliefs. I see the color with my nose. Some exotic, oh, this must be blue. Smells this, so this must be blue. Some people say that. Namaskara to them. So we are not talking. We are talking about us normal people. There may be some special creatures wherein more than one indriya may function in one locus. It is possible, but there are still two indriyas operating in one location. Right? Two indriyas or more indriyas operating in one location. Like even the fish, they say, or something. Fish breathe something, some water animal creature breathes through the skin, etc. It is said. Right? So there are two functions there. Two functions in one locus. It does not mean there is overlap of this indriya, vyapara. There is no overlap. Overlap means confusion. Maybe confused. But whereas each creature very determinedly, very decisively knows this is that, the perception is there. That shows that there is uniqueness. Every pramana is unique. This is something very, very important to understand. Uniqueness of the pramana. To know something, some prameya vastu, to know some prameya, you can have only one pramana. There is no two pramanas. No, many pramanas are not there. So every pramana is unique. Nothing can substitute that. If a person loses the eyesight, then the person cannot see anymore. Can feel with the hands, but that is only that's a touch feeling, not the sight. It's not the sight. So every pramana is unique. Uniqueness of pramana. Vedanta is said as a pramanam. We will come to that a little later. And now one question comes here. What is revealed by a pramana? What is known through a pramana? One philosophical question, or it's an important question to say. How do we know that what we know is right? It's a big question. How do we know that what we know is right? How do we verify? How do we check? I look at this object, it is yellow in color. How do I know that this is yellow only and not red and not blue? How do I know that? How do I know that? What is the certainty that this is right? What is the certainty? It may be not be right also. This may be right, this may not be right. How do I know that this is right? This is correct. How do I know? There's a question is there. There are two positions on this. This is called the validity of a knowledge. The validity means correctness. The correctness of the knowledge is a very important factor to understand. Because only when I am convinced that this knowledge I have, this is correct, then based on that alone, my choices, my decisions, my behavior, they all depend on this validity. I see somebody, I know that this is Devadatta. Then I talk to Devadatta, ask Devadatta, hello Mr. Devadatta, how do you do? How are you? Where are you? How are you? Etc. All that I ask. I am certain that I am seeing Devadatta only. What is this? When I look at the person, I see this is Devadatta. How do I know that this is Devadatta only and not Yajnadatta, somebody else? Right? If there is uncertainty, I see someone, then I am not sure whether it is Devadatta or Yajnadatta. Then how can I base in? How do I ask? What do I ask? It happens to us. Somebody, we meet somebody, and then somebody says, hello, how are you here? I see you here. How do you do? How's your wife? How are the kids? How is Patty? You know, Patty is my wife. How does this fellow know that Patty is my wife? How does he know my wife's name? I don't remember this fellow. Who is this fellow? So I don't know. I just sort of tentative smile and then tentative, non-committal, etc. Sometimes we ask, sorry, I don't remember, sorry, excuse me, I forget your name. Then he says, I am Jim. Okay. Oh, okay. Then everything comes. Till I know convinced that I am seeing Devadatta, my interaction with Devadatta is either not there or tentative. But when I know that this is Devadatta only, then I am firm-footed, I am clear. Why don't you come home, etc. I tell Mr. Devadatta. So all our vyavahara is based on this understanding of validity of our knowledge. Sometimes we are taken for a ride also, we mistake also. Suttika, Rajata, Stanuhu Purushaha, right? Stanuhayam Purushaha iti. There are mistakes committed, errors committed. We think that this is a snake and then we run away from that. We think that this is silver and run towards it. Pravritti hiva, nivritti hiva. All depend on our conviction that this is there. Even though I do not know that what is lying in front of me is only a shell, but I see a silver in it, I take it for truth. I am seeing silver only. Then I run towards it. I have value for silver. It can fetch me something. I can do something with it. So I run towards the silver. That is, I consider that this is valid knowledge. How do you know the difference between this silver knowledge and Suptika shell knowledge? The same place. Okay? How do you know that which is right? Why do we conclude that silver is right? There is the question. The validity of knowledge comes. We take anything that we see, that we perceive as real, as correct to start with. When we perceive something, the correctness or incorrectness of our perception depends on certain factors. If my eyes are clear, free from any defect, and there is broad daylight, clear daylight is there, and there is no other disturbance, no other hindrance, no other extraneous factor which will twist my perception, when there are no defects and there are no hindrances, then my eyesight is clear, then I see it is valid. The perception is valid. What I see is valid. But suppose there are some defects in my eyes or in the light or in the object, whatever. Or if there is some samskara, we will be seeing all these samagris, we will be seeing this. Adhyasa samagri we will be seeing that. If there is some samskara intervening in my perception, then there is I have this perception, I think it is so, but later on I discover that this is not so. There is bada happening. There are two words, jnana and prama. Even though both are taken as synonymous, meaning the same thing, jnana means knowledge, prama means knowledge, even though both are taken synonymously, but the word jnana is a general word. It covers valid knowledge also, incorrect knowledge also. Jnana. We say sarpajnanam in the rajju. We call it sarpajnanam. We don't call sarpa prama, we don't call. We call sarpajnanam. But when it comes to the jnana, the understanding of the adhisthana, of the vastu, the object there, then we say rajjuhu, rajju jnanam also we say. But rajju jnana is rajju prama it is. When all the defects are removed, then I see that there is only rajju, that is prama. So prama is the ascertained knowledge which does not get dismissed, displaced, negated. That is the prama. Pramanajanyam, pramanajatam is prama. The very word pramana means defect free. Defect free means of knowledge. And prama is defect free knowledge, which never gets removed, negated, sublated by any other vyavahara, by any other later vyapara. I see a table, yes, I understand it's a table, this is prama. Later on I see, oh, this is not a table, this is a chair. That never gets badita. So abaditam is the hallmark, is the benchmark for this prama. Badita, what is negated? Abadita is never negated. Once known, it's never negated, that is abadita. Alright. So in the pramana, there is this prama which is born of this pramana. The validity, there are two positions, two views about this validity pramanyam. Pramanasya, that is pramayaha, the satyatva, the truth of the prama that we get from pramana. There are two positions, two views. One is called swatah pramanyam, the other is paratah pramanyam. Swatah pramanyam, paratah pramanyam. That the pramana is valid, that the prama is valid. There are reference space. How do we know that the cognition, the knowledge is valid, correct? How do we know? There are two positions, swatah pramanya and paratah pramanya. The paratah pramanya is that a view held by Nayayikas. The Nayayika holds the view that any pramana vyapara culminating in the prama, that prama needs to be ascertained as correct. And for that, you need extraneous means. Other than the pramana, you need, other than that particular pramana, you need something else to verify. The validity of a knowledge is confirmed by something other than something which is not part of that particular pramana, vyapara. What is it that? He says anumana, inference. Anumana is the means by which the validity of every cognition has to be ascertained. That is why Nayayika is so much committed to Anumana, Anumana, Tvat, Hetu, Drishtanta, all that. You see in the Nayayika, right, discussions, in the book you see, all are only Hetu. Everything has to be proven by Anumana. Till it is proven by Anumana, any cognition cannot be considered as valid. It's not enough that you say, I see the table cognition is valid, correct, it's not enough. The Nayayika says you have to use an Anumana to infer, to say that this is correct. Nirdushta Indriya Janyatvat, etc. I should say. Right? I see the table because I see this without it, with this Bana Indriya, Chakshurindriya, which is free from defect in broad daylight, etc., etc., it should be there. So it has to be validated. The knowledge, any knowledge has to be validated by Anumana. This is the Nayayika's position. This others, nobody else takes this position. Even the Vaisheshika does not take this position. Vaisheshika and Nayayika, they are very close, almost twins. But still, the Vaisheshika does not assume this position. We ask, if you have to validate Pratyaksha by Anumana, we ask, how do we know that the Anumana is valid? Right? The Anumana which validates Pratyaksha, right? You say that Anumana validates Pratyaksha, means Anumana shows that Pratyaksha Jnana is valid. Now our question is, how do we know that the Anumana, the inferential knowledge is valid? How do we know that? So to know that, to ascertain that the inference is right, the inferential knowledge is right, you need another inference. Anavastha. Okay? Anavastha will be there. To validate one cognition, you need another knowledge through Anumana. To validate that, you need another Anumana. That way it is endless regress. Anavastha. Therefore, this position, Parataha Pramanyam, we don't subscribe, we don't accept that, we dismiss that. It is said, this is a philosophical discussion, not just philosophical, it's a epistemological discussion, it's very important discussion. How do we know that? What we know is valid, correct? Because all our transactions are based on this understanding that what we know is correct, right? Or when we know that something is not correct, we withdraw from that, we withdraw that notion and we refrain from activities based on the assumption that that is right. Like even when I know that this is not sarpa, this is only rope, then whatever activity based on the thinking that this is sarpa, I withdraw from. Right? I don't base my activities, choices based on this thinking that this is sarpa anymore. So the idea of validity, pramanya, is very important. It's a very important point. Alright. It is said in the Shankara Digvijaya and all that in books, when Shankara goes to Mandana Mishra's home, first he goes to Kumarila Bhatta, it is said according to Shankara Digvijaya, who is the chief, the Acharya of this Purva Mimamsa, Karmakanda. When Kumarila Bhatta is not available, he has decided to give up his body. So he said, I am not available, but Mandana Mishra is there, go to him. You can have this discussion with him. So Shankara goes to Mandana Mishra's home. There he sees in the veranda, in the courtyard, he sees some birds are sitting there and they are chirping. Some parrots or some other birds, talking birds are there. They say, Swatah Pramanyam, Swatah Pramanyam. And some other bird says Paratah Pramanyam, Paratah Pramanyam. See? Acharya was taken aback. These birds are saying these words. Swatah Pramanyam, Swatah Pramanyam, Paratah Pramanyam. Sanskrit words, profound words. Are we to understand that the parrots knew the meaning of this? It's too much. But then the parrots are repeating the words. That's why, parroting, okay, we say, just repeating. Where from these birds got these words? There was so much of discussions going on, regular discussions going on in Mandala Mishras, the great Acharyas. It was a Gurukula, it was a place. And the birds keep hearing these words. Even they are young chick, they are hearing the word. Therefore, Swatah Pramanyam. Some say, some other birds say, Paratah Pramanyam. That shows how much scholarship is there, how much of learning, how regularly it happens, how many people come there, etc. It's all a clear linga indication for that. That is scholarship of Mandala Mishra, etc. That is said. These words, Swatah Pramanyam, Paratah Pramanyam. What is the position of the other thinkers, and in particular Vedanta, Darshana, Vedanta Acharyas? They say that the Pramanya is Swataha Pramanyam, intrinsic, innate to it. Every knowledge is taken as valid in itself. It is taken as valid in itself. When the knowledge is gotten from Nirdushta Pramana, and the external factors are helpful, conducive, not in obstructing, they don't obstruct the perception, the knowledge, or they don't twist this knowledge, then the knowledge gotten is valid. What about the invalid knowledge, like the Shuptika, Rajata, shell, silver in the shell, snake in the rope? What about them? There, some other extraneous factors are there, right, which vitiate, which distort the perception. When those factors are removed, then the pramana is not hindered, is not obstructed, is not vitiated, distorted. Then the pramana gives rise to prama, valid knowledge. So invalidity of the knowledge is understood, is known, because it's known that invalid knowledge rises because of defects. Not in the correct pramana. Pramana is valid, right, but it is distorted, vitiated, obstructed, etc. Like in the eye, Tivira dosha is there. We are going to see the examples, Dvichandra, Darshanam, etc. So, the eyes are capable of revealing, provided there are no defects occurring in it, nor any other external factor happening in that. Any other external. If the pramana is nirdushta, then it reveals, right? When there is no factor hindering the valid arisal of valid knowledge. This is understood when we employ the same pramana without the defect later. Suppose I see a sarpa there, then later on, in the proper light, adequate light, I see that there is only rope, right? So, what was seen with the hindered perception is dismissed by hindrance-free perception. So, what is to be done is the hindrance that needs to be removed, the defect that needs to be removed, nothing to do with the valid pramana. Pramana always gives rise to prama, provided there is no hindrance, there is no defect, etc. So the knowledge is self-valid, self-validity of knowledge. This is Swataha Pramanyam is there. It's a big discussion. I am mentioning only very briefly. That is, every pramana has swataha pramanyam. To validate that you don't have access to, no other pramana has access to validate this. What knowledge you get by one pramana, through one pramana, any other pramana, no other pramana has access to validate your knowledge. Nor they have any access to dismiss this knowledge also. Like even what we know through the eyes cannot be proven by the ears, nor can be disproved by the ears. Ears have no access. Ear is a different pramana. It has no scope, right? It has no access to what the eyes have to reveal. Therefore, in seeing the validity of what the eyes reveal, eyes alone are the pramana. Ears are not the pramana. There is no pramanantara samvada. Samvada means confirming what one pramana says. Yes, this is correct. No other pramana has any access to that, either in proving or in disproving what one pramana has to say. Therefore, pramana is unique. Okay. Veda is a pramana. Vedanta Upanishad is a pramanam. For what? Pramana for what? In making the person understand that I am Atma and Atma is Brahma, Brahma is Nitya Mukta, this is Purushartha. For the Purushartha Siddhi, Jnana, and the Jnana of Atma being Brahma, here Vedanta alone is the pramana. Okay? We will continue. In the Uttara Shanti that we do, the Sanno Mitraha, I overlooked this. In that the second Sanno Mitra is there, no? Ritamavadisham so Vidaspatihi Sanno Vishnururkramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmavadisham Ritamavadisham Satyamavadisham Tanmavit Tatvaktaramavit Avin Mam Avit Vaktaram Om Shanti 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 Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saraviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadita Toma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Yas Chandasa Vishabhu Visvarupaha Chandobhyo Yamrita Sambhavuva Samedro Nedaya Astronotu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumattama Karna Abhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmana Kososi Medaya Pitaha Shrutam Me Gopaya Om Shanti 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 Aham Vrikshasya Eriva Kirtir Prashan Eriva Urdhva Pavitro Vajiniva Samritamasmi Dravidagam Sarachasam Sumedha Amritokshitaha Iti Trisankor Vedano Vajanam Om Shanti Shanti पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। आप्यायन्तु मम गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनिरते य उपनिषत्सु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविरावेर्मयेधि वेदस्य मआनीस्तः श्रुतं मे अनेनादीतेना होरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति भद्रं नो अपि वातयमनः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेन देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तब्रह्मदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। राहुग्रस्तदिवाकरेन्दुसदृशो मायासमाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रः करणोपसंहरणतो योः सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्तमिति प्रबोधसमये यत् प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। बाल्यादिष्वपि जाग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्तास्वनुवर्तमानमहमित्यन्तःस्फुरन् सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजतां यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामितं शिष्याचार्यतया पितृपुत्राद्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जाग्रति वा ययेष पुरुषो परिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। भूरम्भांस्य नरो निलोम्बरमहर्षिमांशुः पुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदं यस्यैव नान्यत्किञ्चन विद्यते विमृशताम् यस्मात् परस्मात् विभोः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये सर्वात्मत्वमिति स्फुटीकृतमिदम् यस्मादमुष्मिन् स्तरे तेनास्य कीर्तनात् सर्वात्मत्वमहाविभूतिसहितम् स्यादीश्वरत्वं स्वतः चैश्वर्यमव्याहतम् वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमागात् गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः निधये सर्वविद्यानां भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं वशिष्ठान्ते वसदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे अङ्गुष्ठतर्जनीयोगमुद्रा व्याजेन देहिना श्रुत्यर्थं ब्रह्मजीवैक्यं दर्शयन्नोऽवतास्यो अशुभानि निराचष्टे तनोति शुभसन्ततिं स्मृतिमात्रेण यत्पुंसां ब्रह्मतन्मङ्गलं परम् अतिकल्याणरूपत्वान् नित्यकल्याण श्रयात् स्मर्तॄणां वरदत्वाच्च ब्रह्मतन्मङ्गलं विदुः ओङ्कारश्चाथ शब्दश्च द्वावेतौ ब्रह्मणः पुरा कण्ठं भित्त्वा विनिर्यातौ तस्मान्माङ्गलिका उभौ ॐ अथ ॐ अथ ॐ अथ